And today I rise in opposition of this bill, which puts forth a false sense of national security while undercutting some of the most critical federal programs defending our nation. In the name of government efficiency and cutting government fat, this bill wastes billions of dollars on ineffective, outdated security measures instead of supporting hardworking law enforcement agencies who keep our communities safe. We should be bolstering critical ports of entry and supporting people who guard them, which is where criminals are actually trafficking fentanyl that's devastating every one of our communities, including mine in southern Nevada. As we've heard, over 90% of all fentanyl makes it into our country through Border Patrol checkpoints at legal ports of entry. Knowing that, I wonder why this bill will divert resources away from that and towards an ineffective border wall. Over the past few years, Clark County has seen over 650 deaths due to fentanyl. In September of 2022, 6 deaths over a span of 36 hours alone rocked our community and moved our health district to issue a formal public health advisory on the severe threat posed by fentanyl. The mounting death toll and the ongoing threat to Southern Nevadans means that I simply cannot support this bill and its failure to take this issue seriously. This bill also fails to support our efforts in combating other threats that we take seriously in Southern Nevada: terrorism and domestic extremism. I represent the entertainment capital of the world, and we have the privilege of hosting some of the biggest shows and events in the country. Just last week, we hosted the Stanley Cup final, in which our Golden Knights won. Sorry, Ms. Wasserman-Schultz, for that recognition. But we also have the Las Vegas Grand Prix and the Super Bowl coming. Around 50 million people fly into Las Vegas every year. And with so many people coming into our community, the safety of both our visitors and residents who power our city is a top priority, and it requires a huge amount of manpower and collaboration. And just a few weeks ago, I toured the Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center with our colleague here, David Valadeo, and we saw firsthand the cross-agency collaboration that Las Vegas security depends on. We discussed how important federal funding through UASI and other key grant programs is to our local law enforcement to carry out their operations effectively and safely. And as was made clear by this bipartisan tour, supporting these types of efforts should not be controversial. And yet this bill proposes to cut funding for DHS and the folks on the ground who work day and night to keep us safe. It would trim $232 million from our first responders, which they desperately need to combat terrorism, extremism, and cybersecurity. And then there's the cuts to our TSA workforce. The other week, I was proud to announce the opening of TSA's new training center in Las Vegas, and I spoke how important it was that TSA got the $300 million they needed to achieve the pay parity that we just passed, which enables them to keep travelers safe across our entire country. And I promised those workers that I would keep fighting in Washington for their jobs, their livelihoods, and their ability to keep us safe. But shockingly, this bill proposes cutting TSA's pay and collective bargaining initiatives by $437 million. Paying law enforcement officers and first responders who keep us safe in Las Vegas and beyond, that should be a bipartisan issue. Securing our homeland should be a bipartisan issue. And unfortunately, this bill does neither of these things. And as such, I urge my colleagues to vote against it.